In a world full of conventional Hollywood cliches and recurring lackluster sequels, one critic has seen it all, who can provide you with all the movie news, opinions, and reviews that could very well save humanity as we know it. This is Libby's Movie Hunt. And now, your host, Libby Hunt.
Along with Kevin E.
Hey, Libby, how's it going? I actually accidentally hit the wrong camera coming in, so people saw me first, but
well, that's okay.
Accidents do happen.
Happy Friday once again. We're here to talk movies, and we're going to talk today about The Wall, Alien. Is it called Alien Resurrection?
Alien Covenant.
Alien Covenant.
It's funny you mentioned that, though, because last night, after I watched Alien, I ended up staying up till like 3 in the morning watching Alien 3 and Resurrection, because they were doing a marathon on IFC.
Oh my gosh, I bet you're so tired.
Nah.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what you thought about it. And I saw Chuck and Norman, but we'll get to Alien. Okay, so everybody's right now saying to me, Libby, what should I go see? And I'm like, there's just not very many good movies out right now.
It's a drought right now.
It is a drought. I'm like, I still am seeing like 3 movies a week, and there's just nothing that I'm loving right now.
Yeah.
And
nothing to get super excited about.
I mean, I've told people I'm excited about Alien. You've seen it, I haven't. I'll see that this Sunday, but I did see a screening of Baywatch. I'll tell you all about that next Friday. But gosh, we need some good movies.
I know.
But here's a couple that are. This is The Wall, Kevin. I think you would like. I saw it.
And this had, I think this is a film that stars, is it Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Aaron Taylor Johnson, who was the bad guy in Hell or High Water, which you and I loved.
Yes,
you know, he was the scruffy, horrible bad guy.
In Hell or High Water?
In Hell or High Water. No. Yes.
I do not remember that.
He's the one that he's sitting on his toilet in front of his trailer home, and Michael Shannon and Jake Gyllenhaal go to arrest him.
Nocturnal Animals.
Oh, you're right. Why do I get those two mixed up? Those movies.
Because they're both kind of
They're
came out
both
at the same time.
Gritty and good, and I loved them so. I think that's why I mix them up all the time. Okay, yes. So he was in Nocturnal Animals.
I mix up Nightcrawler and Nocturnal Animals all the time.
I know. It's funny, certain films. But he is so good in this. And he also stars, it's just 2 people in it. He and John Cena, the wrestler.
WWE
wrestling guy. Who,
yeah.
The only other movie I know, he's been in some other stuff, but he was in Trainwreck. He played Amy Schumer's boyfriend.
Yeah, at the beginning.
At the beginning. The muscly guy. But so it's 2 soldiers in, I would say it's post-war Iraq. They're sent over into the desert. They're in the desert. They answer a distress call out in the desert, and all of a sudden they are fired upon by this sniper, and they're John Cena's character is hit, and you think he's dead. And Aaron Taylor Johnson has to go get behind this wall, which is like the size of this table. It's not very long. It's like maybe 6 feet long.
So that's kind of where the name comes from. He's pinned down behind this wall.
Behind this little wall, cobbly wall. And this sniper, Iraqi sniper, has all the advantages, And it's the whole hour and a half is this thing. You're like, how are they going to make this into a movie?
It is almost like Phone Booth or Free Fire, where it's
totally.
all like stuck in one little spot, or Buried with Ryan Reynolds.
Buried, I liked that.
Oh, I liked that too.
I really liked it.
That's a really creepy movie.
It was. The director is Doug Liman, who did his first movie was Swingers with his good friend Jon Favreau.
Yes, one of my favorite comedies.
Yeah, and he did all the most of the Bourne movies, and he did Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So this movie, all those are such action big films. Then he moves to this small movie that is almost like a play.
It's almost it's not as fluffy as the other ones.
Right, but it got 69% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, when we like a movie, it's more in the 70s. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of go by somewhat like the tomato meter. How anything above 70 is like certified fresh. So
right.
That's what I put in like the very securely popcorn worthy. Anything 70 or above. Yeah, and in the 90s, we're into our Oscar consideration kind of movies.
Well, I would say that 69% is a pretty accurate. I mean, I'd give it popcorn worthy because it was good, but it's not for everybody.
I'm assuming just because it's all in one spot, did they cut down the runtime? Is it only like 90 minutes?
It wasn't real long, which it was the perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
I saw it a week ago, and I remember feeling dissatisfied with the ending. I wasn't happy with the ending. That was kind of disappointing. And I don't want to say because it'll blow it. I kind of can't even remember. But I remember thinking, dang, if they had a different ending, I would have liked this movie better.
Yeah.
But it's good. So I mildly popcorn worthy.
Mildly popcorn worthy.
So that's what I give that one.
I mean, at that runtime and that plot, it seems like there's not a lot of room for dull, boring moments. So, I mean, I could see where that would just be a nice, good, brisk,
it's not boring.
Yeah, exciting
And
film to go
those
see.
actors are great. Well, especially Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's fantastic.
Well, he's one who really, has proven himself. He started as the nerdy guy in Kick-Ass, and now all of a sudden he's in
Is
these
he
main
British?
roles.
I believe he is.
I don't know.
And then we talk about
He's
this.
in Godzilla.
Oh, he was, yeah. He's
Yeah.
really handsome. I think he's married to, we'll have to Google that in a minute, a woman that's like 20 years older than him, too.
I think that is true.
So kind of interesting because my friend and I were like, he's so cute. Let's look him up.
Yeah.
But okay, so that's that one. Tell me about Alien.
All right. So just to start
Wait,
things
tell
off.
us real quick. What Alien is this? Is it the 8th?
Okay, the Alien lineage is very confusing because you have Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and then Alien Resurrection, and then we'll all forget about the AVP films because they don't count.
What is AVP? What is
Alien versus Predator.
Oh.
Which were really goofy, not
I
none of
like
the original
Predator.
characters.
The original
I like the
Predator.
original Predator
Yeah.
also. And I think Alien versus Predator is a cool concept, but the execution was always,
Mm-hmm.
So this one is a sequel and a prequel. That's why it's so annoying, because it would be the equivalent of like Episode 2, Attack of the Clones in the Star Wars universe. It is the sequel to Prometheus, which is a prequel to the original Alien.
Now, wait. So what?
So
Now, wait,
basically,
what?
if I can sum it up to it's not as confusing, Ridley Scott wanted to create a prequel trilogy to his original Alien.
Okay.
So Prometheus was the first of that trilogy. Covenant is the second, and then there'll be one more, and they're all the events leading up to the creation of the xenomorph and that stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Am I going to understand it? You understand these things better than I do.
I mean, I got to be honest. I just see Prometheus quite a few times before I really got a lot of it, and it's still confusing. And a lot of those cryptic elements are still very, very heavily present in this film. It really does feel like a combination. Where Prometheus felt like its own entity, it didn't feel like an Alien movie, really. Where this one has the elements of Alien, but also those elements of Prometheus. So if there are parts that you didn't like the confusing science fiction elements, the excessive gore, the dark kind of bleak undertone of the plot and the characters, that's all still there.
Oh, it is.
It very much feels like another Prometheus film that happens to have aliens in it.
Do we see the big icky aliens with the goopy mouse and all that?
It starts out as, if you remember, at the very end of Prometheus, you see the birth of what they call, I may get this wrong, a neomorph. It's like not quite the alien yet. It's like a smaller version. So you see those first, but ultimately it does develop into what we know and think of in our head as the alien. So yeah, there are aliens in the movie.
So they land on a planet? Is that it?
The opening plot is going to sound very familiar to the Alien universe. It's nothing cutting edge as far as narrative is concerned. Basically, it's a group of a bunch of couples on this ship called the Covenant to go and colonize another planet with humans. So they go into cryostasis, as always, and as always, something goes wrong with the embryos on board. The captain is killed. The android has to wake everyone up and says there's a distress signal coming from a nearby planet, similar to what happens in the original Alien when they end up on LV-426. So, and I don't want to over-explain the plot either and make it even more confusing to people listening. But so they end up, against a lot of people's advice, they end up going to this planet, and of course, everything goes downhill from there. It has the same kind of pollen contagions that start this weird morphing, and horror ensues. And it is very, very violent, and there's a lot of death. And because there's a lot of characters, which somewhat is interesting because there's a lot to kill off. People in these movies kind of root for the alien, almost like how you root for Jason in the Friday the 13th films. I did not like the ending.
Oh.
I had that feeling for fans of the franchise. I don't want to give too much away, but you have that really good closure feeling at the end of Alien and Aliens, where it's like, just caps everything off. This one, I felt the way I felt at the beginning of Alien 3 when you find out what's actually happened since. It's like, oh, well, that sucks. That almost kind of ruins it. It's a twist, but for me, it wasn't a very welcome twist.
Well, is Michael Fassbender's in it?
Yes.
Who I adore. And
without giving too much away, Michael Fassbender reprises his role from Prometheus and is another android in this film, but they both look the same.
Okay. And the girl, I can't think of her name, but
Walter
I like
her. And David, yeah. I actually don't remember her name.
She's been in a lot of stuff. But Ridley Scott, has he directed all of them?
No, Ridley Scott has only directed the original Alien, Prometheus, and Alien Covenant. So he's done 3.
So if I love all these movies, but only one I really, really love was the first one. Since I haven't seen this yet, I'm going to go see it Sunday. Should I try and watch Prometheus before? Would that help?
It does explain a lot, but it's a little confusing in the beginning without it, yeah. But eventually it does evolve into just kind of a horror sci-fi film, and you'll be able to piece it together, but it would definitely help. However, Prometheus is a little long and a little confusing. Prometheus may end up making you not want to go see Alien Covenant at all, because a lot of people didn't like it. But I strongly believe that if you like Prometheus, you'll like Alien Covenant. But Prometheus was not that popular.
What is there a funny character in it at all? Like Bill Paxton in the first one was fun. There is
in the second one.
Or the second one.
Yeah, they have Danny McBride, who plays Tennessee, who's kind of a redneck cowboy type character.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's humorous. And then Billy Crudup is in it, which I hadn't seen him in a long time.
I love him.
He is left in charge after the whole thing with the captain happens. And then a couple other people I didn't even expect, like James Franco pops up in there. And then the main girl, I cannot recall her name for the life of me.
I know, I may have to look her up because she's been in a lot of stuff. Sigourney Weaver, my dad was asking me if she was going to be in it. And I was like, I don't think she makes an appearance.
No, because she would at this point be, I don't even know, born yet.
Yeah, she wouldn't be born yet.
Yeah.
So, but didn't you just love in the first Alien when that alien popped out of that guy's stomach? For some reason, I had never seen anything like that before.
Yes.
The first or second Alien when
it was like this really creepy sci-fi mixed with a slasher movie at the same time.
Right.
Like, and they had that mystery almost like Jaws, where this stuff's happening, but you don't know what it looks like. You don't know where it is. It's always in the shadows, and it's almost a character building up to what it looks like. There's none of that. I mean, you see all of it straight out pretty consistently throughout the whole movie. I mean, face huggers, neomorphs, xenomorphs, all of them. There's all kinds of aliens, all kinds of killing. No element of mystery really at all. But and there's definitely face huggers and chest burster aliens also.
Okay. I think it's so funny that how do you remember all these names?
I don't know.
I mean, it's crazy. Like you've got this science fiction mind.
It's encyclopedia of nerdy stuff.
But you like it. It's thank goodness.
It just sticks in my head.
Because I'm not a science fiction person, so I'm glad I have you on my team to help with this. But I think it seems like it's a movie for people to look forward to.
It is.
Memorial Day,
I just can't recommend it for everyone.
So what are you saying? What are you giving it?
I'm definitely going to call it popcorn worthy. I would say it's comfortably in like the 65 to 70% range. It's worth checking out. It's not one that you're going to want to go eat during, say, like a movie grill experience. I mean, I wouldn't. There's a lot of blood and gore and whatnot. But if you're a huge fan of the first Alien and you love James Cameron's Aliens and you're expecting an experience like either one of those films, it's really not like that. It's much more like Prometheus. So if you're not on board with the new age Ridley Scott style of action sci-fi horror, you're probably not going to get that much enjoyment out of it. If you're an Alien loyalist, stick to the originals. But anybody else, definitely worth going to see.
Well, I'm looking up right now. It got 73% on Rotten Tomatoes,
which is certified fresh, and it's been as high as I think 78 or 79.
Okay,
it's kind of gone all over the place, but
I think it's gonna. I think a bunch of people are going to see it.
I think so too.
Because nothing's out.
Yeah, nothing's out, and I think it will have a bunch of mixed reviews.
When was the last movie? Several years, or has it been very long?
Oh, I mean, I'm going to say Prometheus was 4 or 5 years ago.
It's
been a while. And Fassbender's supposed to be an alien or synthetic, so it's like, how do you explain that he looks older? But
yeah. Well, these have been going on since, like 1980 when I saw the first one, kind of like Star Wars in 76 or 7. Or isn't that kind of cool?
It is.
I guess.
And anything with the Alien name on it, I will go see. I saw Alien vs. Predator. I saw Alien vs. Predator Requiem. I saw Predators. Anything involving those.
I loved the first Predator. Was Arnold Schwarzenegger in that? I thought that was good.
That's a good one.
That was so good.
And I actually liked the direct sequel that came out. I don't remember how long ago. I think that was also about 5 years ago, called Predators with Adrian Brody. I
liked that too.
That one was cool. On the Predator, like on the hunting planet. Yeah,
I know. I really like that. So I've asked you this before, but science fiction, Star Wars, Star Trek, Alien. What's your favorite, Star Trek or Star Wars?
I'm going to have to say my most loved will always be Star Wars.
Yeah, I thought so.
And then, but it's a close one with Star Trek, because I love those too.
Yeah.
I love the original movies. I love the new ones with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto. Those ones are great. But I have to say Star Wars.
He's a Star Wars guy. People can't see it here, but what do you call those little white people over there? The little...
that would actually be a First Order Stormtrooper from The Force Awakens.
He's got a little Stormtrooper
on my
over
desk.
there.
Yeah.
I know. I need to get you some kind of piece of memorabilia, Star Wars, like something, a old vintage piece. Do you have
Yes.
anything vintage?
I do actually. I
Do
have
you?
a prop of Luke Skywalker's original lightsaber.
Oh, that's cool.
It's pretty cool.
But you need like an old movie poster or something.
Yeah, something
or
like
something
that.
signed.
Something more vintage.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm reading Carrie Fisher's book, Shockaholic, and she talks about being Princess Leia. Her books are so funny. But you need to read her books just because they're humorous and they talk. They're all
she
about
was
Star
really
Wars.
funny.
Yeah, she's hysterical. How she thought that movie Star Wars. She was going over to London to film it with Harrison Ford, and they thought it was going to be a B movie, nothing.
So did Alec
I
Guinness. He's like, why am I even in this movie?
I know. See, I didn't
Respected
realize
actor.
that nobody knew that it was going to be. I thought, I don't know what I thought, but
I think everyone thought this is going to be a flash in the pan.
and it became such a hit.
Such a hit.
Yeah. Well, so that's a good review. That makes me think of things being a hit you don't know about. You know that I've talked on the show, viewers and Kevin, before about our movie I helped produce, Bomb City.
Yes.
It
Very exciting.
Richard Linklater, his daughter Lorelai Linklater's
yeah.
in it. He liked it so much he is going to premiere it next weekend at the with the Austin Film Society.
That's awesome.
And so I'm going to go down there. If you're in Austin next weekend, actually it may be sold out, but Sunday at 4 in Austin, Richard Linklater is showing our movie Bomb City.
I wish I had a little like applause,
Isn't that fun?
cheering sound
I
effect
know.
queued up. That's
So I'm
incredibly
going.
exciting.
I know. I have actually a couple tickets if you want to go.
I just might do
Seriously.
that. I've been dying to see it.
Come on.
Everyone, I mean, if people
Seriously.
are lining up, and I'm always last. I'm
It's
like,
Memorial Day weekend, so think about it. So that's fun news.
very fun.
Okay. Well,
but we
I guess
knew Bomb City was going to be great.
Yeah. Well, you never know because I've helped produce some other things that were,
That's
you
true.
know. So
It can go either way.
It can go either way. So that was fun. Okay, next movie. This was really fun for me to see. I'm one of my probably it's in my top, not maybe 10, but the Rocky franchise. So the movie Chuck. Have you heard about it?
Yes.
With
Liev Schreiber?
Schreiber. Yes.
I'm a huge
Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber fan.
Liev Schreiber. Yes.
Ray Donovan.
Ray Donovan's so good.
I actually liked him as Sabretooth in X-Men Origins Wolverine. I know among the nerd community people
No.
hate that movie, but I liked it. And I liked him as Cotton Weary in the Scream films.
I love him and everything. Well, he's been with beautiful Naomi Watts for years, and they have 2 children. And actually, they just separated, but she's in the movie. She kind of has a bit part. His wife is played by Elizabeth Moss from
Mad Men.
Mad Men. But basically, this movie it's kind of it's a tale of resilience and redemption, where he is this guy selling liquor, and he's also a boxer, or not? Yeah, and box fighter, and it's in Bayonne.
Like a prize fighter, or like
Bayonne.
a street fighter type.
Prize fighter, kind
Gotcha.
of, but he was okay, and he played in Bayonne, New Jersey. I think that's how you say it. And he got asked by Muhammad Ali to fight with him, and so he accepted, and he stayed in the ring with Ali for 15 rounds. So when Sylvester Stallone was writing his story of Rocky, he based it on Chuck.
Oh, okay. So this is like the real life Rocky story.
I'd always heard there was a real life Rocky, and I
I heard
never
that
knew
too.
who it was. So this guy was like a legend in New Jersey. And so what's funny about this, so he was basically the real life inspiration for Rocky. What's funny about this movie is that the movie within the movie, Sylvester Stallone, so he has his 15 minutes of fame because everybody's like, oh, you're the real Rocky Balboa. So he, all these things happen in his life. He kind of, bad and good things happen. They're going to make the sequel, and Sylvester Stallone calls him in. They have somebody that looks like Sylvester Stallone, plays Sylvester Stallone in the movie, calls him in to
They have somebody play Sylvester Stallone.
no, to audition him to be in the second movie.
Yeah.
But he had gotten addicted to cocaine or something, and he blew the audition, so he didn't get to be in it. But it's basically how he handled his 15 minutes of fame, and it wasn't too well. Nobody handles it very well.
Right. Similar almost sounding to the Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Exactly. A lot like that kind of. But it's very good. I think it's 73% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'd give it popcorn worthy.
I mean, the story is very cool, and
Yeah.
it seems like it's perfectly cast.
Yeah, it's perfectly cast. My only thing with it is it's filmed a little dark. I mean, I don't know this director at all who did it. I don't know. The filming of it could have been a little. I can't
more
explain.
crisp.
Something was missing.
Something's missing.
Because my husband and I both went to see it, and we're like, the story's great, the actors are great, but the cinematography could have been better. The costumes, it just didn't have a great look to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a really low budget.
Maybe.
It looked
or maybe
kind of-
that's what they were going for.
But
They thought it was edgy or something.
Yeah, it looked a little too edgy or something.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes those things work, sometimes they don't.
right. But I think if you need something to go see, it's good. But Yeah. Okay.
So if you're recommending, would you recommend The Wall over Chuck?
I probably would. It depends on the person.
Right.
Like you're a guy. I mean, they're both kind of they're both guy movies. But I think people love war movies.
That's true.
They just do.
Combat in
They
general.
combat. Even women do. Why? I don't know. They just war movies do well. Isn't that interesting?
That is weird.
They do.
It's got to be something primal. I
don't know. So I picked that over the two. Now here's my last movie. What are we doing on time? Are we okay?
Oh yeah, we're good. We got about 9 minutes left.
Okay. This Norman. Now I have a hard time explaining what this movie is even about. Richard Gere plays a New York City fixer who gets things done. And he meets this...
like if a celebrity got into a scandal or a politician or something like that?
It's more like business things, connecting people and businesses. And he's just... he plays this Jewish guy that's up in everybody's business all the time. He's kind of irritating. And he always is trying... He's related to the actor Michael Sheen in the movie. Plays his nephew or something. And he's always trying to get in on his deals. And he's trying to connect people. But he meets this Israeli dignitary. And he wants to connect him with other people. And he's in a store with him, and he ends up buying him a pair of shoes for $1,200. And the Israeli dignitary is kind of charmed by it. And so they kind of become friends. And he ends up being the prime minister of Israel. And then just all these kind of interesting... Steve Buscemi's in it.
Buscemi?
Me and the words.
Yep.
Hank Azaria.
He's great.
But it's directed by Joseph Cedar, who does only Israeli movies. So it's like a whole... Steve plays a rabbi in a synagogue.
That's weird. I don't know why I can't picture him in that role.
I know. He plays a kind of not a mean, gross character at all, kind of a nice character. Yeah. But Richard Gere kind of becomes shady. I can't explain it. It's kind of a tragedy, but it got 80%, 86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, that's pretty good.
That's real good.
Do you know what Chuck has on Rotten Tomatoes?
It had...
I think I looked that up yesterday, but I don't remember 73%. What it was. 73. So about the same as Alien.
Yeah. But Norman, okay, so I talked about this last week. I thought this was interesting. Richard Gere, he can only say this about himself because he's a movie star. He said, I sat in makeup and they said I was so handsome they need to push my ears forward to make him look kind of goofy.
To make him more unattractive?
Yeah, so they put some tape. So I was so excited to see how that would look.
Yeah.
And it made... Richard Gere kind of looks goofy in it.
Really?
But I have to say, I'm a big Richard Gere fan. Or do you like him?
Yeah, definitely.
Always.
Yeah. And he hasn't been anything in forever, it seems like. But now we have two movies
remember the
2 weeks in
dinner?
a row. Yeah.
But he always plays that same guy, like the politician or the wealthy guy or the husband. This is such a step away from what he's done before. I think it's such a good performance that he could be nominated for an Oscar if the Academy remembers next year. That's how good his performance is.
So in relation to Richard Gere's acting, you're calling this Oscar-worthy?
I'm calling his performance Oscar-worthy.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it really,
And what was the last time he was even in maybe Chicago?
Oh, no, he's been in some things. He plays...
But I mean, I think that's the last thing he was in. Did he get a nomination for Chicago?
Nominated. I don't know if he's ever been nominated.
I don't remember the character's name.
But, I don't know if he's been... Has he ever been nominated? I've loved him since...
I don't know. That's
way
a good
back
question.
in the day when he
I'm
was...
look that up.
You know, when he was... what do you call it? He was like a lady, a hooker for women.
Right. Of course. American Gigolo.
Gigolo. Oh, my gosh. Man, I was so in love with Richard Gere when that came out.
I mean, it's funny how two of his most famous films both relate to prostitution. When you have Pretty Woman and American Gigolo.
Exactly.
One where he's the... and it's flip-flops.
I saw him recently in a movie with Andy Garcia where he plays a dirty cop. He was so good at it.
I love Andy Garcia.
Yeah, and I can't think of the name of it, but it was good. But I would say it is definitely popcorn-worthy. Little hard to understand because it's a lot about business and connections, but then something kind of tragic happens then. But look hard to understand, but popcorn-worthy and Richard Gere Oscar-worthy.
Now, this is one, though, that you're going to have to branch out. It's probably not going to be at your local Cinemark or AMC. You need to go for the art house.
Yeah. So I don't know. You're a young guy. I don't think you'd love it, honestly.
I mean, the plot, altogether, and it's not. I don't know that I'm totally sold. I don't know that I'm going to be running out to see it anytime soon.
Well, look at the review. When people do a write-up, even in the write-ups, it's hard to explain exactly what he does as this New York City fixer, putting deals together for people. That's why I'm kind of like, not everybody. I mean, I'm sure my husband would understand it. He's a businessman, but It's a good
It
performance.
sounds a little confusing.
I know. It's hard for me to explain to you what it's about.
Much like Alien Covenant is confusing, just in a very different way.
But isn't that interesting? I got 86%. So that it probably got that for his good acting. Don't you think?
I would think so. I'm sure his
when all
performance
that-
is what's driving those positive reviews.
Well, and all the actors in it. I mean, that's a stellar cast.
Very good cast.
So I mean, that's that. But so we got it. We need some good movies to come out.
We do. I mean, one thing that bums me out, I would say, this is something I forgot to mention about Alien, and I think you notice more and more when it comes to summer blockbuster movies. I can't stand CG in movies like that. It just drives me nuts. In any kind of horror or sci-fi, like I just don't like it. It's like I was actually excited when the Thing prequel came out,
right?
Because like just seeing that concept on the screen again was really cool. But they ruined it by using computer effects instead of practical effects. Now I think there's a fair amount.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Practical would be like take Jaws for example, or Jurassic Park. A lot of the dinosaurs are animatronic. I mean, that's a practical effect. Like that's actually there. Where now, say Jurassic World, everything's computer generated,
right?
Almost like a cartoon. And there's definitely a lot of that in Alien Covenant, but there's also some good practical ones. Okay. But I'm just such a purist. I love those movies with original type effects. I mean, I can't think of any CG effects in the original Alien. I mean, I'm pretty sure the alien itself was a guy wearing an alien suit.
Right.
And that's what I like.
I probably like that better too. This new Johnny Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, right. Next week, Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's a lot of CG stuff, right?
Oh my God. Tons
Where
of CG.
it kind of, and they make Johnny Depp look young at one point.
Yes.
CG.
That's like the new thing now.
That's the new thing.
Yep.
I was like, wow.
It started with Jeff Bridges in Tron. Then they did it with Robert Downey Jr. in Captain America Civil War. Then you have Carrie Fisher in Rogue One. And now Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean 5.
But were you telling me Pirates of the Caribbean was based on a Disney ride?
Yes.
That's so weird.
Yeah, the original Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I'm pretty sure.
Because I've enjoyed those movies, and I don't quite understand them either. But
I've seen every one in the theater. Yeah.
Javier.
Yeah, you have Javier Bardem who never lets you down.
Oh, never. I'll see it just for him.
Yeah.
I'll see it just for him.
And is he a villain in this?
I think so.
So okay. So,
yeah, he's like revenge.
Yeah. I mean, he was so good as the villain in Skyfall. That was one of my favorite Bond villain performances ever.
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men. One
that's
of the
best
creepiest characters ever.
With this page boy haircut, best villains ever. The hairdo was classic. There is a movie I want to see that it didn't do well. It's called Everything, Everything. It got 44% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
But it's I'm gonna tell you who's in it.
That's right. I forgot you mentioned that one the other day. I was
gonna try and go see that. I don't know any of the characters in it. Don't know one of them. But it's about a girl who she's allergic. She's a teenager, lives a sheltered life. She's allergic to everything, and she falls in love with the boy next door and wants to get outside. And I think he takes her out for the day. And I mean, it looks like a movie that my girls would love, teenage girls.
It sounds like a tearjerker type, one of those.
I think it may be based on a book.
Heartwarming type films.
But 44% doesn't sound too good.
No, it's not great.
No. So, but that's the only other thing. So next week will be, what'd you say, Pirates of the Caribbean? So
Pirates of the Caribbean, and then we had Baywatch also.
Okay, I'll tell you all about that.
We're starting to get into the summer
blockbuster,
routine. Yeah,
which I'm just not a fan of.
And I am. I love it.
Okay, listen. What I've never heard this little tidbit. The Star Wars movies. The word blockbuster came because of the Star Wars movies.
I did not know that.
Carrie Fisher talks about it in her book, Princess Leia. She says that they would be blocks long waiting to get into Star Wars, and it would be turn a corner or something. So it busted at the block, they called it. So that's where blockbuster came from. Star Wars movies.
That's insane.
Now
So Star Wars technically started in a weird way, Blockbuster Video.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
That's crazy.
They started. That's where that term came from.
How is that not a more well-known thing?
She explained it exactly. And I'll find it in the book. Actually, I dog-eared that page because I thought that was so fascinating.
Fascinating.
I thought you'd not like to know that. Since
Definitely.
Started the blockbusters.
Yeah.
It started sequels. And we say Star Wars and Jaws started a lot of movies like
Definitely.
that.
And that's a great question to ask any movie person. Like, do you know where the term blockbuster comes from?
I'm going to explain it better next week. So
most people don't know.
I know.
I didn't know until today.
I know. Isn't that interesting? So just turn to us for good little tidbits and news on movies. Trivia. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in. Are we done?
We are done.
Okay. Go enjoy the movies, and we'll see you next week. Bye.